What's up, Cloud Gamers? Welcome to another episode of CGX Cast. This is episode 80. So you guys know this is the podcast where we talk about all things cloud gaming. So we'll pretty much go through all of the cloud gaming news this week. Google Stadia, we'll talk about them. They give us another Tuesday post and this controversial game on the release of this week that we'll talk about when it comes to just performance as a whole. Amazon Luna gave us one game this week. We'll quickly touch up on that as a retro game. Not the biggest week for Amazon Luna. Xbox Cloud Gaming gave us the final roadmap. Actually, not the final, beginning week. Again, we get two of these from them. So they give us like the beginning, and then later on the month, they give us another. But we have some pretty big games come to the platform for this month so far. So we'll talk about that. GFN, as you guys know, gave us GFN Thursday, and we got a demo. So we'll talk more about the demos and see what y'all have to say about the weekly release games for GFN this week. And PlayStation gave us a pro roadmap with the PlayStation Now platform. So we'll talk about that. But as you can see, this is the panel today. We might have one other guest appearance. I am not going to say who, just in case if that doesn't happen. But if he does, you guys will probably know who he is. I'll give you a hint. He's loud. But that's the only hint I'll give you guys there. But let's just get started. Introduce the members of the panel, and then we'll check in with you guys, the viewers. So let's start with Jerry. How are you doing today, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Doing all right, man. So, as you guys know, I've been doing some work on the house, so I haven't had as much time to game, and I'm tired. But when I have had time, though, you probably know from chat, I've just been mostly playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I know that's a little ridiculous, but the game is really good. And, if you are as much of a Star Wars geek as I am, it's just pure joy the entire time you're playing. I've gone through the first 6 episodes, so I've got 7, 8, and 9 to go through yet, which are a little less nostalgic for me than the original, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3. But Lego's take on this has been so good. I'm looking forward to going through them anyways. And MLB The Show 22, since that finally hit the Switch, I've been able, and it has cross progression, I've been able to actually enjoy that game a lot more on the couch or wherever, grab my Switch, play. And then if I jump on my Xbox, my stuff is right there. So that was a great move by them this year, adding the Switch and adding cross progression. So that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Yeah, I was on Discord and noticed like the picture that you posted with a Switch and then having a PlayStation like
The
studio
PlayStation logo.
logo.
Like,
How
here we go.
crazy is that, right?
Yeah, everyone
But
was doing that with Xbox last year. Ooh,
yeah,
PlayStation shows up on Xbox. So I was like, yeah, I'll
Xbox.
take a picture of the Switch this year doing it. So,
That's awesome. So tell me about Lego Star Wars because I actually got that game to play it on Shadow
yeah,
PC. So it seems like I booted up for the first time last night, but it seems like there's multiple games in just like 6 or 7 games in
there's
there
not. There's
or
all nine
something like that.
films in there.
9.
So,
Okay,
and
wow.
and you play through them in each chunk. So you can start on 4 and go through to 4, 5, 6, or you can start on episode 1 and go through 1, 2, 3, and so on. However you want to start with your new game. So all 9 films are in there. It takes you about an hour and a half per film.
Wow.
So they've broken each one down and done a really good job of it, of giving you like the main stuff
Yeah.
from each movie in that time frame. So like being a big fan, as you're playing through it, it's just never dull. It's never boring when it comes to the whole Star Wars story aspect
Yeah.
of it. But also the game is huge. Even besides that, you unlock free play for every episode you go through, every film you go through, every stage. And you can go back and explore all of these for tons of unlockables, tons of characters, and stuff like that. And they've also changed all the mechanics of the game this year. So you've got this over the shoulder view, you've got different melee combos happening. A lot of the puzzles have been moved to a lot of the exploration and unlocking of things, so that as you're playing the main story, you're not caught up in just puzzle after puzzle after puzzle like some of the older Lego games. They've kind of moved some of that out of the way, even though it's there. So I'm just really, really enjoying it.
That's awesome. So much to that game, man. I'm glad that you're enjoying it and that you're gaming. It's awesome stuff. Good to have you here, sir. All right, so let's check in with we like to save the best for last, and that's our guess. But to hell with that this round. We're gonna go with Ray because Ray's more like family at this point, right?
Well,
So
thank
Ray, how
you.
you doing, sir? What have you been playing? What platform?
Well, man, you know what? I got to send a huge shout out to GFN. Hooked up a brother with a 3080.
Ooh,
Uh, yeah,
nice. I know
they.
you've been like contemplating because you wanted
I
to
was
get
on a
it, but
20.
yeah,
I've been playing. I've been playing on a 2080.
nice.
I just happened to. Hey guys, it's GFN Thursday.
Yep,
Shout out to Dom. He was
yep.
just 2080. Hey, don't you want to? If you play cloud gaming, don't you want to experience the
Yeah,
best? And so,
telling you.
got a 3080, and I played. Oh my god, I played all the demos. So I played Chorus on the 3080.
Ooh,
You ever see He-Man when he lifted his sword and he says,
yeah,
"I got the power"?
yeah.
Well, that's what I feel like right now.
Dang, that's
It
awesome.
opened. Holy cow!
Yeah,
I've been playing a lot of Rainbow Six Extraction on the
nice.
3080. Real nice. I've been playing a lot of World War Z on Stadia. And then let's see, I finally beat Martha is Dead, and that is a very
Ooh.
creepy. I had some nightmares. I actually streamed that. I don't want to give no giveaways, but
Yeah,
that game, that is probably the most extreme stuff I've ever seen on a video game, like
yeah.
really. And then what else? Oh, and then just Xbox been killing it. Hell Monkey was talking earlier about the Xbox Series S. I mean, the baseball game came out. It plays excellent. I've been playing that on my Xbox S, and then cricket. I'm learning how to play cricket, and cricket's on Game Pass. So that's what I've been doing. And then also, man, taking time to spend with the family.
That's right.
Well, actually, my wife threatened me. She told me, you even go to the console or go to the computer, be in trouble. So the last 2 days, I've
Dang.
been kicking it with the wifey. So
There
that's
you
what I've been
go.
doing. That's
There
what
you
I've been
go.
doing.
That's awesome, Ray. Good to have you and good to see you gaming as well, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
just hearing you talk about that GFN 3080. I remember when we got, and shout outs to NVIDIA, like just
Dude,
looking out for people, right?
they
How
don't
cool is
know
that?
me. They don't know me. They
That's
don't know me.
awesome.
They know. He says, I know you play a lot of. I love. First of all, guys, I love all these platforms. I play
Yeah,
games,
me too.
and they just, hey, you want to try out a 3080? And I said, sure. And so, yeah, shout out to them
Yeah,
because most people, I mean, as content creators, we put out a lot of stuff and we promote a lot of stuff. So
yeah,
to get recognized on social media, that's awesome. So yeah,
yeah,
shout out to
seriously.
them.
Yeah. But that just getting your take with the demos and stuff. I remember again when we got it, I went back playing older games, right? Just to see the graphical enhancement
It's
from the
different,
3080. It's
huge
insane.
difference.
It's
Like
insane.
Far Cry 6, I played Far Cry 6 on Stadia. I
Yeah.
mean, I got to keep it real. I got to be honest. It's totally different playing on a 3080 rig because the 120 frames per second,
Yeah.
it was like because it speeds it up a little bit. So I noticed a lot of speed.
Yeah.
The latency is a lot better. It's great, but hey, that's what I love these platforms. Love these
Yeah, dude.
platforms.
Yeah, cool, man. I'm glad you're able to experience it. I remember just hearing you. You were like, man, I gotta get it. I gotta wait. You were like, when to get it. So to hear that you finally experiencing it, it's good
Yeah,
stuff, man. It's
very good.
cool. All right, so we have the legend, guys. The myth, the legend. He is back from from the dead. Here he is, man. Monkey, it's good to see you, my dude. How are you?
Yeah, I told you not to say legend. Just one man in such a huge world. No, thank you.
Yeah,
It's nice to be back. I love watching the show. Then I was on it. Took some time off. But Ray, I'm so glad you mentioned cricket because I got that up on xCloud on a console. I can finally play xCloud. I was talking to Jerry about this now because I bought a Series S. it's night and day difference for me on a console from what it is to PC, whether I use a browser or the Xbox app. So I fired up the cricket game because I do watch cricket. I watch T20. It's the shortest version. Some people find it boring. Myself and my old man, we quite enjoy it. And I learned a few things about different positions that I still didn't know, even though I've been watching it all this time. I could hit the ball, which was not the case last year in MLB when I could only get it on xCloud. I'm playing a lot of MLB as well. Chicago White Sox is going to win the World Series. But no, it's playable for me now on the console.
That's good.
But it's just so much better to download and play on the big TV via the console. It's the experience is still so much better. xCloud's still got a lot of work to do. They've got all that content there. They've got so much, anticipated content coming as well. They need to sort of fine tune the end user experience, I think, and they should be okay. But a GFN as well on the Shield 4K. Tried out Chorus when the demos dropped there. I was really happy to see that you don't need to sign in. It's one of the biggest bugbears for a lot of GFN users is having to sign in multiple times. Even sometimes when your accounts are linked, there's a bug in the system. You maybe have to reinstall the app or the PC client. So that was good, a good streamlined experience. And I was just continually impressed with the way GFN runs across the devices that I use. And I'm nearly finished Tomb Raider on GFN, the Game of the Year edition. I'm getting there. It's a long ass game, but it's really good. So I'll get there. So I've been playing a lot of games this week. Loads of Forza Horizon 5. That's just such a good game. Such an enjoyable game. You jump in and you think, I'll do a couple of races. 4 hours later, it's dinner time, and time's passes by. So I'm having fun gaming across platforms right now.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good to hear you gaming, Monkey. It's good to see for sure. And
Thank you.
you talking about the demos, man.
Yeah.
I hope that the seamless of booting it up and getting into game can be applied to the rest of GFN. I was like trying Chorus, right? And just not having to need a login, how quick it is, almost like Stadia, with how instant it is to like get into a game.
The issue, the issue there is, well, my understanding is you're not saving. I don't think you're saving any progress in the demo because you're not signing into an account. Whereas through GFN, because you have to access it from Epic, GOG, or Steam, if GFN could offer storage saves, cloud saves on their end, you probably wouldn't need to log in all the time. Whether that's something they might consider in the future, I don't know.
That's interesting. It's gonna be good to look at, but yeah. Again, man, the legend is back, y'all. Good to see you, Monkey, for sure.
Thank you.
All right. So, in this show, we love to save the best for last. And man, I'm glad she said yes to come to this show. I hope you're not intimidated by this smart guys here. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. Purple, can't wait to get your take on the news. But introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are and what you've been playing and what platform.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Purple Haze. I guess just introduction, I've been mostly in the Stadia community over the last few years, I guess 18 months more or less, and just recently started to develop content, really trying to bring the voices and, I want to steal something from you, Ace, the people, the person behind the gamer to light on my channel. And so I kind of dig deep with just different content creators, and hopefully we'll bring in some developers as well, and just gamers in general, just to further create that sense of community, just because I think the cloud community is just a great it's a great place to be, really, to tell you the truth. And I do a couple of game playthroughs, really mostly just games I think that are like really pretty and really just put me in a certain mood. So I like to like game and chill. It's kind of the way I like to think of it, and just like talk about the game, and once again just create a space for people just to talk and just to hang out. So I try to do. Right now I'm streaming currently Little Nightmares 2. It has that puzzle element that I love, and it's a beautiful, beautiful game. And so hopefully probably we'll finish that this weekend. But on my off time when I'm just like messing around, recently Orcs Must Die 3 just released their DLC. So jumped back into that the other yesterday to check out the new monsters they have in there, the new traps, just the new puzzle element to it.
Nice. Orcs Must Die is a fun game, and it runs. That is probably one of the highlight games I showcase when I'm trying to show people Stadia, because it's just so smooth, and even the GFN is really smooth, and did a good job. Yeah, cool. Well, good to have you on here. Do you go by Haze? Do you go by Purple? What do you like to be called?
And they're both, a lot of people say Purple, but
Purple? Okay, cool.
can do
Good
that.
to have you on here, Purple. All right. So let's say what's up to you guys who are viewing, and then we'll just get right into the show, right? So I see you on here, Ray. Good to see you. Jay Smith, good to see you. Monkey, I see you too. Porta, good to see you. Sherman Gaming, good to see you. MB, I hope I'm not saying Emble. Is that right? Emble. Good to see you. I hope I'm not saying your name wrong. Purple, I see in the chat. Space, good to see you, my dude. Ray, I see you here too. Victor, good to see you. Kate's Ball, good to see you, dude. Ron, good to see you. Fleshy, good to see you. Let's see. I think Christopher, good to see you. Right, and Winster, good to. And for those of you guys who watch in the background, it's good to see you as well. All right. So let's get into the show. Right, we're gonna start with PlayStation Now. As you guys know, every month, PlayStation gives us the roadmap, and we know that this is going to be quite different come later in the summer, right? With the merger of PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus. But for right now, they're still going about the same way. So we got a couple of games, I would say 4 games that was released for this platform or announced for the month of April, right? So the first being the Outer Wilds. The second being WRC 10 FIA World Rally Championship. The fourth being Journey to the Savage Planet. And then the fourth game is Werewolf the Apocalypse. So this is PlayStation's April game lineup. So let's check in with the panel members and see if these games excite you. Are you guys gonna sign up to PlayStation if you're not a member, or if you're a member, you guys are actually going to play any of these games? So let's kick that off. We'll start with Monkey in this one.
Yeah, good games.
Yeah.
I don't have WRC 10 just yet. I'm still playing the original Dut on PC. I'm trying to get it set up for VR right now, but it's a bit of a workaround. So it is Journey to Savage Planet. Really good game, sort of survival exploration. I didn't not actually played it, but it's got a lot of good reviews from the industry. And Werewolf the Apocalypse, you get to run around as a werewolf and destroy stuff. I know Vet loves that game. I was watching him stream that not too long ago, and he was having a great time. 3 really good games. Oh, sorry, was there another one as well? Outer Wilds? Did I miss that?
Yeah, Outer Wilds. Yeah, and
I played that on xCloud. That's an interesting game. It's really sort of, it's a relaxing vibe about it, but it's actually quite hard. So as it lures you into a false sense of security. I think that's really 4 good games for the month. But I know you guys spoke over the last couple of weeks. For me, not having a PlayStation, I'm not paying double the price for PS Now.
Why not, Monkey? Why not?
it's, in my eyes, it's not worth it. Even though the performance and everything's there, it would honestly just give me too much choice, and they end up, you've Stadia, GFN, and as a PC gamer, I have a lot of PC games, and having the Xbox and the PC, there's too much. Honestly, I just feel like there's too much some days. But that's a really good lineup. So it is. Is it enough to draw people in? I don't know, but it's really good if you're already in the ecosystem right now. I think it's 4 solid games.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. How about you, Ray? What's your take on these games coming to the PlayStation Now platform?
Same way when they always come out with these games. I got them all. The werewolf game, that was I think second or third PS5 game that I purchased when I had my PS5. So I already had that, and it's like, oh, and I paid $60. I was like, man, I could have just waited.
Yeah.
But Savage, I mean, the games I've already have, but for somebody that has not experienced these games, I think, and I agree with Monkey, those are actually a really good lineup. The werewolf game, it's a really good slash 'em up game. If you like rally car racing, the rally car game is actually pretty cool graphic wise. Savage of the Planet I played. I mean, they're good games. I mean, they're good games.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so realistically, it sounds like you own most of these games, but if you didn't, do you see yourself actually signing
Yes.
up for PlayStation to play this?
Yeah, the werewolf game is pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good game. I wouldn't have, if back then when I first paid like $60, I was like, yeah, it's not I don't think it was worth $60. But
Right.
to get it on on this particular subscription plus these other games, I think that's pretty good. So
Cool.
yeah.
Okay. Good to get your take on that, Ray. Let's check in with Jerry, sir. What's your take here, man? Are you going to play any of these games? And if you didn't have PlayStation, would you actually sign up for it to play these games?
So, yeah, so there's two sides really to this. I think off the bat it is four solid enough games. I don't think anybody's really going to argue that. The worst of the four being Werewolf Apocalypse. That game needs to show up on subscription services. It has not been reviewed or received well since launch, and I know I didn't really enjoy it myself. So, but the other three games are fairly solid. If I'm downloading them on my PS5 and playing them, it's one thing. If I'm relying on this for cloud, then I'm streaming it to my PC. It's kind of another thing. From the video we put up that normally I have such a great experience with PS Now, but WRC 10 was the worst experience I've ever had with PS Now. I even tried it again after that video a couple times because I'm like, there's no way. It had to be launch day. It had to be something. And no, it's just still that horrible PS4 version that I have now found out many people have complained about locally as well on PS4. WRC 10 has been horrible.
Wow.
It doesn't look good. It doesn't play well. The 30 FPS struggles and all that kind of stuff. So when you go on cloud, that exacerbates those kind of issues because now the game's already running bad, looking bad, and then we have horrible pixelation and blockiness and latency issues and just stuff that I normally don't have much issue with. If I play God of War or Horizon or those titles, no problem. Even though I'm not a fan of the 30 FPS or the older hardware, they play clean enough, they play well enough, they're fine. So that's been my issue. And I even jumped into Savage Planet for a few minutes and was kind of getting the same experience. So like some of these newer kind of titles, especially like WRC 10, that aren't running great on base PS4 hardware anymore, they're struggling. That's making them struggle in the cloud. So they're solid enough releases, but I'm kind of concerned about the performance of these games for people that are strictly playing it, streaming it to their PC, or whatever the case. But downloading them on my PS5, that's been great.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Thanks for that, Jerry. How about you, Purple? What's your take on these games? Do you like, have you played PlayStation Now, and do you see yourself actually getting it if you don't have
So I don't have it now. I don't think these games make me want to get it. I'll start with there.
Yes.
I think, as everyone said, it has like something in there, I think, for for a lot of gamers. I'm not going to say for most gamers, just because I think there are some category, some stuff that's missing here. Me personally, I'm not nothing to hell monkey here, but I'm not a racer, right? I don't. That's not the type of game I play a lot. Journey to the Savage Planet, I was actually just talking to Lo-Fi Monk, another streamer, great channel. He has about that game, and so I may jump back into that. I have that Outer Wilds. I've heard a lot about that one. It's rated pretty high. And so basically I would be doing this just for that game, I think. I think the Werewolf game, I kind of got mixed reviews on that, just in my circle of gamer friends. So once again, I don't think this necessarily moves the bar for me to pay for it. And with the game backlog I have, I don't necessarily think I'm just gonna jump in just to get Outer Wilds, in my personal opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for that, Purple. So my take here is we went from the previous month of getting the same day release game, right? Shadow Warriors 3 in this platform, with the announcement of, Spartacus and changes happening to the PlayStation Now, right? You would think that momentum would continue, right? And here we are in the month of April, and we get this. Just like Purple was saying, I'm not touching any of these games. None of them excites me. None of them is gonna make me sign up for a PlayStation Now subscription. For Sony, really speaking highly about the exclusives, man. I just keep asking the question, at times, why are they afraid to put the exclusives in the cloud? I mean, these are all third-party games. Sony has a lot of games in their portfolio. Why are we getting these games? I want to see. I mean, where is Ghost of Tsushima?
That's their
Right?
That's their filet mignon, man. They ain't
Yeah.
gonna put. They're not gonna put. Look, they're not.
Hey,
They're not putting their. They feel. I mean, if there was an
man.
interview, the guy says, we would kind of be belittling the game if we put it on like a subscription, like Game Pass or something like that. And that's how I think that's how they look at their exclusives. I think they're killing themselves because some of those exclusives now are, even old, but still good and would be great.
Oh my goodness.
So,
yeah, Ray, I keep saying this. People Sony needs to put out same day release games like Microsoft is doing. And I was like, realistically, they don't. They have some killer PS4 games that they can still put in the cloud that people go crazy for. Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima. I would sign up for PlayStation, and they keep teasing us, right? They'll put it, take it out, put it, take it out. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I agree.
If I could just nip in there, I get the feeling that the hardware they're using for PlayStation Now is maybe showing its age. And that's possibly half the battle with getting even their older first party exclusives. But I was thinking this last week when you guys were having this discussion as well. If Xbox wasn't dropping first party games into Game Pass and promising at least one every quarter, would we even be asking PlayStation to do the same? But not in a bad way, because I think Xbox are setting the standard in that department.
I enjoyed Shadow Warrior. Was awesome.
Yeah.
I played it.
That as well.
I loved it. It was great. I was like, keep it going.
Yeah.
Right.
Really good. It was a really good third party game to get. It was it kind of bombed in the reviews.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people wanted the best parts of 1 and 2 into 3, and that never really happened. And then the price, even the £35 I paid for it was a bit much for the length of the game. So to get that in part of your PlayStation subscription, I thought was fantastic. Really good game, can't complain. But yeah, I think if Xbox weren't doing what they are, I don't think this would be a big issue. People don't seem to mind paying $70 and $80 for these PlayStation games because, I'm not afraid to say it, they are top of the line games. They're the best. They're the best of the best, really. In terms of production quality, But in terms of longevity for the subscription service, I think it would be really good to see them coming in and bring them
See,
to
that's
PC
where it
as
gets
well, please.
messy too, Monkey, because
Yeah.
Game Pass has set a standard when it comes
Yes,
to
sir.
game subscriptions.
Yeah.
But much like Netflix did back in the day, but now I subscribe to many other apps that have just as good, if not better, content. But when
Yeah.
Netflix first started, that didn't exist. All the other apps' content was horrible, and it was like Netflix set that. But each app, each network, everybody kind of found their own footing. And they offer their own thing, right? So Game Pass has set that bar, but the issue is Xbox needed Game Pass to be what it is to create the momentum to become the success Xbox is becoming again. Sony doesn't arguably need that. So their subscription service, while I think it will eventually have day and dates, I think it will eventually evolve. It's going to change and things as we go down the road. When there are cloud upgrades on hardware, we're going to see more come there as well. But I just think it's not apples to apples. It's hard to say, okay, Sony needs to do what Microsoft is doing, because they don't. And they're both trying to get their own thing going. And Microsoft needed first like single player campaign strong quality games, and that's what they're going after. PlayStation needs good live service multiplayer and shooters and stuff that they've had weak points on. That's what they're going after. So they're bolstering their weak points, but their subscription services are, it's going to be hard to say they really need to match, because Game Pass is what Microsoft needs, but Game Pass is not what Sony needs. Not
For
yet,
now.
not at this time.
For now.
Yeah, for now. I believe down the road that changes, right? Like, it's going to evolve. We're going to get day and dates, and I think a lot of subscription services will match that, because we don't talk about like EA Play Pro on PC and compare it, or Ubisoft Plus on PC and compare, but those are day and dates, deluxe editions, all DLCs, everything that you get with those. That's the similar kind of thing for $10 or $15 a month. So those services exist very much like Game Pass for these companies on PC. So you're going to see more and more of it. Sony will get to that point. It's just that they don't need to be there right now. So why not keep selling those $70 games as long as they can until they're forced to take that next step, which is kind of what they've done now, right? They're kind of forced to take this first step that they're taking anyway.
All right. Good point.
Yeah, I agree. Just like the subscription services as well, if I could just quickly, you got me thinking there. You know, as a PC gamer, PCs are expensive. Right now, you could have a PlayStation console and prop it up with a Series S for less than what you would pay for a PC to get similar gaming performance. Plus, you get the benefit of the Xbox, getting access to Xbox Game Pass and these massive PlayStation Studios games as well, for less than how much it would cost to build a good PC that would be capable of 4K, 1440p, 60 FPS streaming. So, you can have it if you can afford it. But this is where I wanted to see PlayStation pushing the cloud further, their cloud service further, to make it even more accessible to more people.
Yeah, go ahead, Purple.
Yeah, I would. I agree with Jerry. I think like eventually PlayStation will, expand their subscription offering. But I also think that potentially this is just not where they're at, right? Like, I think we all said that they're gonna like milk that $70 game type of deal as long as they can. And I think, the jury's still out on cloud gaming subscription service and the profitability. Like, there's quite a bit of analysis out there that says, Game Pass is actually taking a loss right now to get people hooked on the subscription. And one thing that, when we think about building something out for PlayStation, which would have a player base twice as large as the Xbox player base, PlayStation doesn't have servers, right? Like, this entirely different like cost-based structure for them. So when we start to think about something at scale for them, I'm not holding my breath for them. I think we see this out of another big game company out of Japan. They kind of play to their own beat. That's Nintendo, right? If we go back 10 years ago with Nintendo, we were saying, oh, they need to do this, they need to do that, they're going to fall behind. And what do we see? Like, Nintendo is actually the one, when we talk about those first party games, that top 20, it's dominated by Nintendo first party games. Not, relatively speaking, compared to Xbox and PlayStation. So I actually think PlayStation is looking at a different point of view, and that's that they sold 114 consoles for PlayStation 4. They're on track to probably match that with PlayStation 5 over the coming years, and they're not going to necessarily give up that advantage, that competitive advantage. Like if you have that many people on your platform who are spending that $600, and if you then buy into the the fallacy of the sunk cost, right? When you spend $600, you don't want to not use that $600 because you think you're going to lose it, right? They know that their user base is going to always want to use their thing. Like they have the market research out there, and so I think what we want as gamers is totally different than what PlayStation wants as a platform.
Nicely said. That's good stuff. Good stuff. So let me ask you this question then, Purple. We joke around here with PlayStation and, being a Japanese company, being like a traditional company. PlayStation has always relied on console sales, right? And the exclusive games, right? Again, they take a loss at first and then eventually things pay out for them once they start selling more consoles, right? So do you think the way I envision Microsoft now is like they're looking towards the future, right? Think about like the next console cycle with the next Xbox and PlayStation 5. If you have Game Pass with over, 80 to 100 million subscribers then, right? And having games being available instantly to your consumers, right? For you see when the console launches, you have to wait for games to come, right? But with something like Game Pass, you have all this back catalog. Do you feel like Microsoft is positioning themselves better for long-term future success than Sony is currently positioning themselves right now, relying on just console sales?
I mean, I think it's to be obviously. I think Microsoft is throwing more at the wall, right, and hoping something sticks. When we think about this next iteration of gaming, this next generation of gamer, game developer, and so forth, are they necessarily better positioned because of that? That's a tough question, right? Because you have to understand where are they positioned right now. You threw out the number of 80 to 100 million subscribers. To put that into perspective, Netflix at a much, depending what you think about, has roughly twice that number. So will game subscription services reach that level of market saturation? Is a good question I would have. I'm curious to see how many people maintaining Game Pass after their their discount pricing, right? A lot of people, Microsoft loves to show out those numbers all the time, but we haven't seen, when they just reported out 25 million in January, they didn't tell us how much profitability they had, and Microsoft's profit margins actually took a hit this last time. Still profitable, but Xbox, we didn't see that necessarily jump that much. So I think once again, I think from a gamer's perspective, a lot of people have said like the best subscription service right now, especially if you have an Xbox, is Game Pass, right? That's a lot of people will argue that. I just wonder when we start talking about really expanding that pool of players. Microsoft has had an incumbent advantage of about 20 years in the gaming space, and they've not yet been able to tap the level of adoption as a Nintendo or a PlayStation. And without being able to be on TVs, like I know what they've said about their dongle or so forth and their apps, but I'm curious, how are they going to expand that player base to get to what you just said, 100 million, 80 to 100 million Game Pass subscribers if they've never even reached that in console sales? And right now they're talking a lot, but Microsoft has talked a lot about stuff in the past and not delivered or under-delivered. So at the moment, I still think PlayStation has a pretty solid advantage just because of the number of devices out there, the fact that people are willing to pay a certain amount for a game, and they just know their customer, I think, really well.
Nice. I wish we had you on the last show with Duncan and Spaceman. I think they would be clapping for you right now because they didn't do a good job defending their platform last week. But you doing a much better job. No shots fired at you, Duncan or Space, but good job. Good job with that. Cool, cool. All right, so let's move on to GeForce Now. If anyone else has anything about PlayStation Now, let me know that we missed. And now we're gonna move on. Right. So GFN again every Thursday they give us the roadmap of not roadmap. They give us the weekly plan of games that they have come into the platform, and also news. Right. The big news for this week for GFN was demos. Right. So we excuse me, we had several demos, right? Chorus being one, Ghost Runner being another. We have Inscription, and Rift Breaker Prologue. And yeah, Diplomacy is not an option. I believe that's wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games, 6 games, demo wise. It's looking like. Anywho, if you're a GFN member, just open it up, check it out. Like we were discussing here earlier, it's pretty good. It's instant. You click a game, don't have to put your login. You're able to go in and experience the game. Good stuff. And the other thing is they want to make it to where you will feel comfortable purchasing a PC game, which I think is interesting. So the demos they state in is a way to try out a game before you make a PC purchase. So I wonder, like, are they working with Steam? Are they working with Epic to make this official? I believe GFN is a good platform, right? Kind of think what Xbox is doing with Game Pass, being able to test out the game before you make the purchase. Are Steam and Epic and GOG working with GeForce Now to put games on there, right? And what storefront is it going to go to? I know for Chorus, if you open up, you can go to Steam and then you can go to Epic. So again, it's pretty interesting. I wonder again if they're working with these top storefronts to make this a possibility. So that's demos, right? And then we have a couple of games coming to the platform. The games that die after sunset, Steam, Elderborn, Steam, Northgard, Epic Game Store, All Four Trading Company, Steam, Spirit of the Island, Steam, and Tunic from the Epic Game Store. So this is the GFN news for this week. We're going to check in with the panel members and just see how this news is. So we'll start with Ray. What are your thoughts on the GFN news for this week?
Anything that you get to get your hands on and play for free is a win. I've bought games and I was like, why did I buy this game? I'm like the back in the days, I was a shopper. Oh wow, look at the graphics on this cover, man. This looks really nice. And looking at videos, not looking at actual gameplay, but
Right.
looking at they get you on the videos and oh wow, what an epic video. And then I'm gonna go buy that game, just like I bought that damn werewolf game that I wanted to like. Why did I would love to play a demo of the werewolf game.
Yeah.
Before I spent $60 on it. So I think the demo is great. Plus, if some people are kind of iffy about, cloud or iffy about GFN and they just, you get a chance to experience. That's a
Yeah.
win. That's a
Yeah.
that's a huge win. Plus, it's helping out Epic stores
Yeah.
and Steam because oh wow, this game is actually good. You know what? Let me go in and let me go to that store. Let me go buy that game.
Yeah.
I bought tons of games from Steam and Epic. Hell, I think what they're doing with the free games when I go on Thursdays to get my free games from Epic, I'm always also looking at the storefront and I'm looking at the other games as well. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, can I play this on my 3080 rig or can I play this here? So yeah, I think demos is great. As far as the games, and I'm just being honest.
Please do. Yeah.
I gotta keep it real.
Keep it real, 100%. Go for it.
The only game that really, honestly, I have interest in is probably I heard Tunic was pretty good. Everything else, probably something I wouldn't. But you know what? I'm gonna say, but different. I always say this: everybody's preference is different. So some guys that like the third top down or whatever certain different PC games, if that's what you like, that's great. But I also know that a lot of people want the flashy,
Yes, sir.
38. If I have
Yes,
a
sir.
3080 rig, I want to see the 120 frames per second, the 35 terabyte. I want to see the rig. I want to try it out. If I got a Lamborghini, Lamborghini car, but I got a Hugo engine inside, I want something fast. I want to try
Right.
it out. So yeah, demo's great, but I think the games, I'm gonna have to say pass. And that's
Okay.
how I feel.
I love it. I love the honesty, man. I couldn't agree with you anymore. But let's check in with Purple. What's your take on the GFN news for this week with the demos and the game releases?
Yeah, so I think they're two totally different takes, right? One take is on the demos. Nothing out of this like really like piques my fancy. Like Tunic kind of reminds me of Zelda franchise, and I'm a huge Zelda fan. But I can just play Zelda. Like I'm not here for that.
Right.
So I think like I'm excited to see gaming expanding. I'm happy to see there are more options in the cloud for people who want to do it that way. So let me first start with that. As far as just like the service, as far as demoing games, the way I look at this is it's pretty well documented. NVIDIA and Google have a pretty strong relationship. And so I just think this is an expansion of the Google immersive stream, and NVIDIA being the client in this situation. That's how I view this. And anything that gets games to players easier, or lets them demo and it lets developers potentially get a sale where they might have not had a sale, I think is a good thing. And I'm excited to see this.
Cool. Awesome. Have you experienced GFN yet? Have you tried?
So didn't really have a rig. So just, backstory, I came back to gaming after being away for a while. So it's not like I have a PC rig nor the library to really utilize GFN.
Yeah.
And so I definitely think this serves a market. It's just not one for me. I have like tested out for people who have rigs and stuff and seen it. So yeah, I think that's kind of a mixed answer to your question, but
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks for that. Let's check in with you, Monkey. What's your take on the GFN news?
I'm worried. I'm worried that the demos are going to lure people into a false sense of what GFN is. As Ray says, we've got to keep it real. The click and instant play is not what the other GFN tiers are like. Quite a lot of the time, especially on the free tier and the priority tier, you will queue. In the free tier, you will have to log in multiple times to start a session. The 3080 is more refined in that department. But even still, getting that window up, do you know what really annoys me? When you're sitting in front of a PC and you open up a game that's on Epic, you get the window. On a PC, it's fine because my screen's right here. I can see my mouse cursor. But on the big TV, when I'm sitting in my chair, I can't see the mouse cursor. It's so small. So just moving that cursor to click play it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass. So yeah, no, just going to be real with that. I think it's great that the demos are there. I understand why they're doing it and the advantages that everyone gets out of that. But I'm afraid to go on Reddit to see what people say about it afterwards. We know what Reddit's like. As for the games, not interested, unfortunately. I think a couple of those games are already on GFN. They're just coming from different storefronts, which is fine. But you know, that's fine. But there's so many other games that would get people talking. EA games. This EA partnership's not throwing a lot up, and I'm going to repeat this again. There's no games from GOG coming since The Witcher 3.
There you go. And Cyberpunk, right?
It's Cyberpunk, sorry. Yeah, my apologies. And you know, a lot of PC gamers solely game on GOG for various different reasons. In ways that they don't like Steam and Epic and the like. So yeah, I think they're missing out there. They're missing out. Amazon Prime gives away a lot of GOG games too. Most of my libraries on GOG's filled up with free games. So it is. So yeah, they're just small things like that could really make, like this week where the games list is pretty poor, just spice it up a bit and, you know, get people talking more positively in terms of the games that are being onboarded. But that's not to say I don't enjoy the games that are already there. That's the backlog there is huge because I am a PC gamer, and between having consoles as well over the years, I've built up a huge PC library. So yeah, not a good week.
Okay. So let me ask you a question, thinking about this now. Do you think NVIDIA should start like creating a section with this blog post of like games that already have been released but coming from a different storefront? Because in a way, I feel like this is misleading when we're getting Tunic or whatever the case might be of games that has previously been released on the platform. Because people read this and they get hyped. Oh, this is, you know, these are the games coming to GFN for this week. Wait, that's been there 3 times now, you know? It's just, I don't know.
I thought
if you guys are watching,
I thought
like,
Ace, I
put
thought
like
it was
a section.
me. I was just thinking about that the other day.
Yeah.
I thought that was just me. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I think it was 2 podcasts ago where I was reading through. I was like, wait, I've seen that. Like, maybe just have a section of, you know, in your blog saying, okay, you know, this has been released, but we're still gonna let you guys know that if you purchase it from the storefront, you can play it. But these are the new games that we actually put in on GFN for this week. I mean, that can kill the confusion, I think.
I think you make a very good point, and it's one that's been you know, talked about before. I think it is slightly misleading, but they're not going to do that, I don't think, because that doesn't look good for them.
Yeah,
especially,
of course.
It's marketing, you know. You don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, so to speak. It would be nice if they just said Tunic came from Epic Game Store, but you could already have played it if you bought it from Steam, which it would be nice. But, you know, we live in a world where people, the consumer, will not use a service because the owner done something bad one day, or they feel that they're anti-consumer. Epic springs to mind in this department. In terms of exclusivity, it's an argument for another day. So having them across platforms is good. That's why I want to see them bring a lot of GOG games as well, just to give you more options. Because, as I say, people won't use Steam or Epic for various reasons. But yeah, I do feel that they should just let you know.
Yeah. Good point. Jared, let's get to you, man. GFN news for this week. We got demos and we got games. Where do you stand with the news for this week?
Well, I'm not gonna spend much time on the games. I'd rather talk about the demo situation and.
But you are gonna talk about it. Don't try to
but
get away.
I'm just gonna repeat what I said last week. April is the weakest month of the year for game releases. It's a filler month. There's not a lot there. That's just, unless they drop some surprises, which we hope they do. There often could be. We could get a dump of a few EA games or something else come, and that'll be great. And I'll celebrate that if it happens in April, because that's what people want. But as far as the games that were, the whole roadmap for April is just not good for most people or mainstream gamers. It's a bunch of filler. So nothing great this week either. Tunic is a fantastic game, obviously, but like you said, we have the thing where we get announcements for dual stores or even 3 different stores sometimes and that type of thing. I've also thought about what would be the best way for them to announce duplicates of games. They still have to announce them just as big as they announced it the first time, because as a company presenting these things to your consumer, if you have a gamer who's only Epic and they don't like Steam for whatever reason, and you don't highlight their version, you're doing them a disservice. That's not fair. If you're going to highlight the Steam one, or if you highlight the Epic one first, and then, you know, a couple weeks later, some blog post down at the bottom says, oh, okay, Epic's now here too. Your other consumer may not know that they even got added. They may not like that you're not paying attention to them. With PC, we have all these different stores and we have a lot of loyalty. So they're kind of stuck where they have to highlight for each one, or some gamers getting their feelings hurt. And I get it. That's business. That's putting your product out there to your consumer the best way that you can, right? What are we going to do about that when we have so many stores? So I've wrestled with that one too. I can't call them new releases. It's not necessarily a new game, but that version to support you, the gamer who bought it there, that's there. And they need to be able to say that in a big way. I do think there's probably other ways to do it besides the way they have done it, but let's not put any of those other stores or gamers on the back burner though, or put them second. Besides that, the demos for me was actually big. And I get how Monkey's concerned, but my rebuttal to the whole, it doesn't show how GFN runs. Well, you're correct, because these demos aren't to get people into GFN. They're there for people who are in GFN. The free tier is really what's there to get you into GFN. So like if you don't have an account, it's not like you can just jump in and load up one of these demos. You can't. You still got to have either a free tier, a priority tier, or a 3080 tier. So these demos aren't ever going to give somebody the impression, because so you've used the service or you're signing up for it. I don't think most people will sign up just to try one of those demos. So the chances that you affect people's perception in that way would be very slim. It would be very low, because, you know, you have to have one of those tiers to play the demo anyway. I think the demos are really cool. They're like Monkey said, there's no saves, right? These are standalone versions. So Ace, you were mentioning earlier, like, are they working with Epic? Are they working with Steam to get these? No, I seriously doubt it. I believe these are coming right from the devs or publishers to load onto GFN servers so that you have that instant access to be able to go in and do it. Because when you go into any of these demos, it shows you all the stores that you could go buy it at. It's support on Epic, Steam, whatever. But there's no login, and there's also no overlays. So like for Steam, if it was on the Steam version, I could bring up the overlay on PC, or I could do this. I could shift tab or shift F2. There's none of that in there. I don't believe this is any store login or storefront involved in those demos at all. This is just something cool that GFN's been working on, that they're getting going, so that you can try these games out. They also have the full array of PC settings when you go in. So it's not a demo that's locked down to a certain experience. You get to go in and try it 1080, 1440, 4K, DLSS on, off, high graphics, low. As a PC gamer, that's awesome. You're going in to try out a demo. You get to try it in all these different performances you want to. They haven't locked them down as far as that goes. So I think it's a pretty big deal. It's kind of small looking like right now, but it's kind of big because it shows that in the future, I think we would all love our games to open and operate this way, regardless as to which store we were going into. As Monkey said earlier, there's a ton of logistical issues when it comes to doing that and PC gaming and having it launch like these demos do. But it is possible. Anything's possible. So, you know, it could be done, and I would love to see it in the future. And I almost kind of feel like this is not only cool to say, okay, here's some demos you guys will be able to try out, and we're going to add to that, but it gives you a glimpse of maybe, just maybe in the future, they find out a way to do this. Even if it's as simple as every time you load up a game for the first time on your account, you pick which store you want that to load from, log into it. Every time you open up that game after that, you never see that store open up. You never have to see that again. It just knows it's automatically going to put you in there, even if they're not offering their own cloud save. So there is ways to do it. So I think there's a lot going on in the whole demo world other than just here's some free games to try. I think there's a lot to what NVIDIA is testing out with this. And I think people are going to like it. And you're going to be able to go in and try these games any which way you want with any kind of settings or resolution. So it may stay small. I don't know. But I feel like this is kind of a big deal for where they might want to head with the service in the future, hopefully.
Yeah. A lot of positivity from you, my dude.
Well, you know I love GeForce Now. They've
I know
not
you
been
do.
able to bring
I
the
know you
games
do.
people want, right?
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
as a big PC gamer, I'm still playing. I can play a ton of games on GFN that will showcase the 3080. I mean, we could list those out all day. That's not the
Right.
problem. But brand new games that people that are hungry for the next thing all the time, they're not coming quick enough. Those bigger games aren't coming enough. There's some older games we'd love to see come back that aren't coming enough. So the games need to get better. But the idea is there, the path is there, the tech is there, but we need that content, you know. And I would say the same thing on xCloud's point, where they got the content for me, but the performance, you know, isn't there. So for me, cloud is suffering everywhere. Like they either have performance or they don't have the content, or they have the content or they don't have the performance, or they don't have the interactions people want, or the UI. So nobody's nailed it. Like
Yeah.
nobody has truly nailed cloud yet, even though everybody's working on it. So when I see things like these demos and stuff like that, I probably get more excited than most people, because that's when I start thinking about like what does this mean to them as far as collecting data, the future of the service, and how they want to shape things. So when I see changes like this in cloud, I tend to get more excited about it, because maybe it means bigger things in the future. So because I think cloud is suffering this year, honestly.
I will say I saw the Cloud Gaming Extreme demo video on YouTube of the Ghost Runner, and that video, man, go check that video. That game looks sweet. That demo looked great. And then when I jumped into Chorus, and I played Chorus on Luna, played Chorus on Stadia, and then I got to play it on the 3080. Holy cow, man. It's different. It's different. And so I think people like the demo. I agree, Jerry. The demo is great. Demo is great.
So it is a move forward for the cloud game space. I always wondered how they would combat, you know, Google Stadia's free trial and, you know, what Amazon is doing for its Prime members. I didn't think they would be able to pull off demos. Demos are such a beautiful thing. I remember back in the days when you'd buy a PlayStation system, they came with this disc, right? They just stopped doing that. People can say you have the digital store, you can go download demos from 'em. But man, there's just something so cool about demos, and it's cool to see GFN getting this. Now, as far as the games, guys, this is week 6 of the week games, bro. Like,
And you know what? I hate
week
doing
6,
that,
bro.
because there's a lot of guys that create these games,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
put their heart and their
Mhm.
soul in making these games.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to I don't want to say weak, but I just like my man Ace says, you got to bring some bangers.
You
All
d
right. The
dude,
game that's sitting behind
dude.
Jerry's Star Wars, all this, everybody would have shut up
Oh
if
my
they would have
goodness.
had Star Wars come out
Oh my
day
goodness.
and date. That would have been like boom.
And it's not too late to bring Elden Rings, man. I can't stress that enough. I mean, one of the biggest games this year. Again, I'm just gonna. I don't. I sound like a broken record, but this week 6, man. I'm counting. I'm counting. I'm just waiting for that 1 week where they shut me up. But this is week 6. GFN, y'all got to bring the games, man. Y'all got to bring the games. But that's the GFN news. Anyone else have anything to say before we move on to Google Stadia? All right.
Good points were made. Good
Okay.
points.
Good stuff. Good say again. Thank you all for sharing. Really good stuff. Like Ray was saying. But let's get into Stadia, man. So we got some a game this week. I would say a game a lot of people were looking forward to, include myself. With World Z Aftermath. We got a news blog. Let me just highlight that real quick as well. They are it's interesting doing something similar with like GFN is doing with demos, but with free trials. Or we got some new games added to that with Super Animal Royale. You get 60 minutes to test this game out. You have Humankind, you get 120 minutes trial to test it out. And And then the newly released War Was Z, you get 60 minutes, which is an hour to test it out. Again, I think it's pretty cool that these companies are taking advantage of these free things, trying to get people into cloud and testing things out. But yeah, those are the games. And again, Stadia Pro game week was the previous week. So make sure you guys go and claim all those game again. Yeast 8, Monstrous Nox, City Legends, The Curse of the Crimson Shadow, Chicken Police, I would probably say is my highlight of games. And then we had one that was previously supposed to come, but again, it's MIA. And then War Was the Aftermath. So let's break down this news with the panel members. What do you take on the Stadia news for this week? And also, let me just point out this War Was the controversial topic. All right, so this is a pro game, right? The biggest thing is the pro game. Google Pro, they highlight 4K as the benefit of pro. This game is not 4K. When it comes to resolution, it's not it's not him 4K, but frame rate wise, it's not the smoothest game as well. But I would say the biggest gripe that people are having with this game is cross-platform play. And we've stated before, Stadia user base is not that big. And this being like an online focus game, not having people to play with becomes an issue. The Division 2 is really popular. Destiny 2 is really popular because they have cross-platform play. So let's break this down, see what the panel have to say about the Stadia news for this week. So we'll start with Purple.
Yeah. So I definitely think, it made a lot of news on specifically on the cross-platform, the lack of cross-platform, I should say, play. Stadia came out pretty strong. Well, maybe not strong enough, but a lot of times these features in the game are on the publisher, if not most of the time, all the time. And so I do think the publisher needs to take a little bit, needs to step up, because that's who actually was saying that it would have crossplay. Now, with that said, I do think Stadia offers they do have that party system, right? If you wanted to play a game and so forth to have it. But, I was reminded this week that one of the Stadia's marquee games, free-to-play game, Destiny 2, also did not come with crossplay when it was released, and that just came full crossplay was last year on that. So to me, I think like the fact that if it's not that we don't have games, it's that we don't have games with all the features. I'm happy for the community because I do know a few gamers who are excited about this one. As far as the graphics, as far as everything else not being top notch, I think you hit the nail on the head where you mentioned it's not the largest player base right now. I think that cloud gaming is still seen as kind of an experiment, as a kind of big bet for a lot of these publishers who have traditional relationships with consoles and hardware. But overall, once again, if it gets games to gamers who may have not had that opportunity to play before, I'm for it. And so ultimately, I'm happy the game came. Do I think that there can be fixes? Definitely, and it needs to be called out. But for people who are enjoying it, who aren't enjoying it before, it's a positive. And if it's something that you're not into, then you aren't going to play it. Like, it's not necessarily you're not really losing anything, right?
Sure. Nicely said. Nicely said. Jared, what's your take on the Stadia news for this week?
Well, from my discussion with GFN, I love demos, trials, and that type of thing. I think Stadia has one of the best platforms for the option of offering up these time trials. I think it was East 9. I forget which one it was now. East 9. One of them had like a 2-hour trial you could do. for a little while, and I think you said all these other ones now are like 60 minutes
Yeah, let me pull
to
it
get into
up.
those. So I'm always good with that. I love free trial. What else I like about those things is confidence in the freaking product you're putting out. So when a developer or publisher or anybody's like, yeah, let's put out a demo, or they allow a timed play or trial of their game, it kind of helps tell you that even if the game's not for you, it's probably a decent game. Or you see games like Werewolf, Ray, where there's no demo, right? If you could have played a demo, but guess what? There's a reason why there was never a demo for that game, because sales wouldn't have been as high. That's just true. That's just
Yeah.
how the business works. So I like seeing that, and the confidence. When I see demos, I'm more likely to go check it out, because I'm like, okay, they've got enough confidence in the game they just made to put it out there for you to try for free before you go spend your money. So I love that. You guys know I'm really consumer focused when it comes to that. World War Z Aftermath is just kind of another port in a growing list of more recent ports from last fall to now that kind of continue to go down in quality. And I'll always stay with the stance that I put 50% of that onto the devs and publishers, 50% of that onto Stadia. Because if I'm the holder of the platform, I'm responsible for quality control before a game comes out. But if I'm the developer, I'm wanting to give the best experience possible. But the problem with that is money talks more than anything in business. So while we had some fantastic games in the beginning, with Destiny and Division and Red Dead and even Assassin's Creed, so many games that were blew my mind when I got on Stadia and was like, wow, these look great. They play great. I've not had that in quite a while. It might have even been Resident Evil Village last April or so, or whenever that
Yeah.
was the last time that I booted up a game. Was like, wow, they've done a fantastic job. Granted, $10 million gets you that. That's what they paid for,
Judgment too, right? It
and
felt like
Judgment,
Judgment was super
fantastic.
good.
Yeah. So these kind of ports that obviously had the money behind them do really well and show the capabilities of Stadia. Obviously, World War Z Aftermath didn't have that kind of financial backing, and they brought the game for pro members at 1080p 60 with a struggling frame rate that bounces between 41 FPS and 60 FPS just from my initial counting when I did our video. Still very playable experience, and I said that in the video. Like, this game is not broken. It didn't come broken. It works. I didn't have crashes. You know, you can do your thing, but not having crossplay, and just for me in particular, since I've played it on Xbox, I've played it on PC, I've played it everywhere. I played the heck out of World War Z. I just got on there and instantly was like, oh man, this is the worst version of this game I've ever played. That didn't make it unplayable, but for somebody who's played it a ton, it was just like, wow, this, I was expecting more from this, but it's what happened. So that was my issue with World War Z. I've seen a ton of people complain about the crossplay issues and stuff like that. I still don't know why it doesn't have it. It had crossplay for like everybody else. I was really surprised they didn't add crossplay for this. So there just was a lack of caring when it came to trying to marry the Stadia community with the rest of the World War Z community and try to keep that going. I think it would have meant a lot for the game, performance and resolution aside. I think I would have preferred crossplay. Like if they said, which one do you want, Jer? Do you want crossplay enabled or do you want better frame rate and graphics and resolution? Right now, crossplay. Like I would say add crossplay to that game and you'll be good. As far as the Destiny 2 thing, that game never launched with crossplay. So as they added crossplay to all of the other platforms, Stadia got it also. And actually, Stadia was one of the first by a little glitch. Like if you jumped on one day, it was like for 24 hours or something, you could crossplay with your friends. Yeah. So as crossplay got added to that game, it did come to Stadia right away, which was great. So hopefully they'll add it to this game. But I don't know if anybody else has seen. I've seen nothing of anybody saying, you know, we're going to improve the game or add that. This is an interesting tweet you have up about the 4K 60 version of Everspace 2 being in limbo for like how long? So like, and they say it's really hard to get a game through. So how come you can do a 4K 60 version of Everspace 2 and it can't get through, but we can get a 1080p, can't even run 60 FPS version of World War Z with no crossplay on, and that quality control made it? Like there's really some kind of disconnect here when it comes to onboarding some of these games.
So I brought this up because of this topic of this game and the port of it, and just the word I'm looking for has been brought up here in this podcast a lot. Maybe you guys can know what I'm talking about. Quality, no. Anyway, when the game is coming to a platform, testing is done to see how well the game performs. Monkey might know this word, to see how well the game performs before they okay on the platform. And I'm just wondering, like you were saying, Jerry, where's the breakdown with games coming, people approving games, and games running well on Google Stadia? Because, like you're saying, we're seeing a decrease in quality, and then when you read a tweet like this, it's just like, what is going on with the process of porting games to Google Stadia that we're seeing a downgrade in games being released? It's almost like they're not taking it as seriously as they did previously. Doom Eternal, fantastic port. Division 2, fantastic. Judgment, fantastic. Resident Evil, fantastic. We know money went into those games. They paid, right, to get FIFA, Madden. But these games coming out, are they just not investing as much like they used to? Is the cure not there? But this right here is kind of concerning. Just want to bring it up and also get y'all's take on this when it comes to them porting games to Google Stadia of late.
I have a couple of questions
Sure.
and a theory as well. Not a conspiracy theory. First question: did they say World War Z was coming with crossplay?
Yes, they did.
They did. Okay. Well,
Not Stadia. Not
that's on a
Stadia.
developer then.
The
Yeah,
developer.
because that's all on a developer side. Sucks. I'm going to be honest, I haven't played any games on Stadia and quite. That's a lie. Sorry, I still play FIFA 21, not buying the same game over and over again. I just buy FIFA every 5 years because it's still the same kind of thing. Okay, so my theory on the performance of the games is, in the beginning, the well-performing games were brought on by big studios. So they were, Sega, Ubisoft, Capcom. Big studios have got paid money and they have bigger teams and, more resources available to them. Whereas, and I don't mean this in any offense to the smaller developers, but they don't have the same resources. They don't have the same, labor hours. They don't have the same amount of staffs. So maybe that's why the performance is lacking slightly in some areas, but the quality assurance is pretty damn piss poor at times on Stadia. Like you say, they can't get a 4K upgrade through, but from what you're saying, the performance of World War Z is not good at all. I don't understand it personally. I think they need to hold every developer to the same standard when bringing in games. Minimum 1080. And if you can't do 4K because of the engine the game's coming off of, and developing it onto Stadia from whether it's Windows based or, because this all differs from what platform it was built on, what development engine it was built on. You can't begin to fathom the amount of work that goes in to putting one game on several different platforms, whether it be Stadia, Xbox, PlayStation, and then you've got PC as well. So you've got Windows, yeah, and you have to fine tune it for every graphics card, every CPU. It's a huge task. So I do have a bit of leniency with the developers. I feel like with this, there should be a merge between the developer and the Stadia teams to get this good, get these games running properly. The other thing as well is I feel like the good games on Stadia are sort of last generation games. Cyberpunk and sort of Resident Evil maybe being the exception in terms of the next gen or this generation. And even still, they sort of lag behind in terms of performance when compared with other hardware. But I don't feel like Stadia is going for that big, huge performance boost, and they're not going to rival PCs. They're not going to rival the new generation consoles. When this was built, it was built to beat PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So maybe an upgrade, but is it profitable for Stadia to upgrade the hardware? Probably not, because the player base isn't big enough and they don't have the games. I just feel like the platform's sort of in limbo just now. I'm just waiting for something to bring me back. Because right now there's nothing
The
there
other
for
thing
me.
I
And
don't
that's
understand, and Monkey might know more, AceNet might know more, and Purple might know more about this, but what gets me, and I'm reading comments, which is making me think of stuff like they're asking, like, was World War Z 4K on Xbox, or was this, that, different things. The difference is, and I think on Series X there was a 4K upgrade actually for World War Z, but even if it's not, the Xbox itself, all the way back to the Xbox One S, has had fantastic 4K upscaling added to the hardware. So that no matter what you play your game at, it does its best job that it can to upscale the output to 4K to your TV, which makes it easier for your TV to then process that image and give you something looking as crispy as they can, even from a 1080p game. They did that because the original Xbox One was 900p all the time. Upscaling was a little funky. The One S allowed more 1080p just by some tweaking of the same hardware, and then the 4K upscaling worked great. That was 2015 or something for that. So my thing is with Stadia, if I'm paying for Pro to get 4K, even if I can't get HDR, that's a 4K stream. Even if I can't get 4K in game, they have upscaled 1080p and 1440p games in the past, most of them, to 4K on the stream side. And yeah, you see the quality difference locally. It's not quite 4K, but it looks so much better on your TV when the stream at least is upscaled to 4K, even if the game's still 1080. So why, as a Pro member, can't at least World War Z or SpongeBob or any of these other games that are 1080p that stream 1080 upscale to 4K, even if the game can't?
Because people like you, Jerry.
What do you mean?
No,
Because people like me stop them from upscaling your stream to 4K?
Here's the deal. If they did that, right? I've had you and Gamer in here to be like, well, that's not true 4K. So to them, it's like a lose-lose situation.
But what I'm saying is they're already doing it. They're already upscaling the 4K stream off of 1080p games, right? It's not like it would be a new thing to do it to World War Z. They do it already.
I would love it. I would love it. To me, you guys know me. My eye can tell the difference between true 4K or 720 upscale to 4K, as long as it looks good enough. But
Look,
like,
if a developer struggles,
seen you
man,
and Gamer and Chief.
Well, no,
really
we will tear up upscaled images compared to native 4K, and we have to do that to keep people honest, right? I'm not going to have someone come out and say an upscaled 4K gamer stream looks as good as some native thing. So we have to do those kind of comparisons. But truth of the matter is, Stadia does upscale a ton of games. Most games on Stadia don't run 4K, but you get a 4K stream, right? No, it doesn't look as good as native, but it looks so much better than giving me that 1080p stream stretched out in my TV trying to upscale it on its own. And they do it with most games. So if a developer is making World War Z and they say, look guys, we can't get it up there, it's going to be 1080p because we want to try to get 60 FPS because it's a shooter, you guys upscale your stream to 4K and at least they'll get that. They do it in so many games. I don't know why they couldn't at least do it in this one.
Yeah, I would have loved for them to do that. I don't mind upscale.
They have the infrastructure. I mean, like Stadia Stream is good still. Like I don't think they need hardware upgrades yet or anything like that. It just baffles me why they can't just turn that little switch and say whatever it is they do to allow that 4K upscale of that game for you as a Pro member. It's just odd to me.
To your point, Jerry, I ask this question a lot with other people when we talk about Stadia and on the back end of that. Potentially, it is a thing still on the developer and the publisher side because, right, and I always say this with cloud gaming, who's paying for that? Like the game's in the cloud, right? It's data in the cloud. And just like any type of cloud provider, when you start to stream data, someone pays for that who has the data in the cloud, right? And so if you're now saying like, let's upscale that, you're essentially doubling the cost to stream the game. I'm not saying I'm not saying that's right.
Sure.
I'm not saying that's
But what's the difference of like World War Z versus all the other games on Stadia that Stadia already does that upscale? And the money's coming from the $10 a month from every Pro member because that's what they're paying for.
What other game does World War Z? Who did World War Z? Who's the publisher?
Most games on Stadia don't run 4K and are upscaled to a 4K stream.
Correct, but I would wonder if it's just like, let's see how good this game runs, how many people actually play it, and does the business metrics make sense for us to upscale it to double our costs to stream the game?
So something I'm noticing with recent release, I'm seeing less even of that upscaled 4K. I feel like they're getting comfortable just releasing the 1080p now. So my thing is, I know that GDC last year they said they're gonna take 4K off as like a priority to bring games because it used to be. So I'm wondering if they're just like done with trying to even upscale or even bring 4K as a whole to this platform.
Yeah.
Just
I
a
mean,
thought.
I was just going to quickly say as well, depending on the methods used to build the game up for Stadia, it might not be possible for them to even upscale it. Because the performance of them bringing that over, on a new engine, on a new hardware, they've maybe not fine tuned it enough yet. Not optimized it well enough that they're confident that upscaling it will give you a good performance. We can come back to the argument of the 4K up to 4K 60. Why is it 4K 30? Why do some games do 4K 30 and some do 4K 60? We know the hardware's capable. It could all just come down to the way the game's built again, because there's so, there's almost infinite number of possibilities for things to go wrong, and the amount of fine tuning that they would need to do. And then they've got to think as well, is it worth them spending the time on it too? On a developer side, there's all of that,
Well,
and this is
typically
going
there's
on constantly.
nothing. I would love to know a lot more about how this works with Stadia and
Yeah,
their stream versus Stadia and the game resolution, right? Because when it comes to cloud, you're dealing with those two things: game performance and game resolution, stream performance, and it's streams
yeah,
resolution. So something similar to like my Xbox, for example, that I was talking about, the developers never had to do anything for your Xbox to upscale to 4K. That's done on the hardware side of things here for the
yeah,
platform. So with Stadia, it should in theory be the same way, even on a PC hardware, that the game could be built to run any res you want. 720, the dev does their thing, you get the game. How you stream it out is more up to you, and you could choose to upscale just your stream, not the game, just your stream, to pro members who are paying for it only, if you wanted to. That wouldn't necessarily be tied to anything with the game builder engine itself, because your stream's completely separate from that. Shouldn't really have anything to do with it. But again, I would need to know a lot more about how like Stadia is dealing with those games, but I really don't think the game version is tied to how they can stream it.
All right, let's get Ray in here. Go ahead, Ray.
All right. Well, first of all, shout out to Stadia, because a game like Humankind, or man, was it Humankind?
Humankind, yeah.
Okay. I would never play it, so I did play the demo, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I really got into that game, building my world of peace and going across countries. So shout out to them for the free games. And as far as the devs, my thing is like this: the most important thing when it comes to business is integrity. Integrity is very important. So if you put something out and you tweet something out and you're getting people hyped up and pumped up about a certain feature on a game, and then you put your game out and that feature's not there, and you're like, well, oops, I think that's really, really, really bad, because you're promoting something and then when it comes out it's not. And I know, well, it's only a pro game. And then another thing is, how about this, devs and people, before you put out a game, why don't you give some keys out to certain members, certain players, to test the game, to tell you about the game, and tell you, run like, have not whoever's working with you guys, but the public, the people who are paying the Stadia subscription. Pick some people, like random people, to try out the game, so we can tell you, hey, this is what's going on with the game. This is what we're seeing. This, like, I mean, there's other, have somebody sign something that they don't say something, but have the game well tested out before it's certified to come on your platform. Now, as far as World War Z, I have it on all the platforms. I got World War Z on all the platforms. I'm actually enjoying it because there's people like my friend, shout out to Suave, and shout out to my best friend Kevin. We're having a ball. We're playing it because there's a lot of people out there that are not, we're not the 4K, we're okay with 1080. We're okay, so I'm actually having fun playing the game. But I totally understand about the controversy and all that. I think it's something someday. I think Stadia is just going to hit a switch and just blow us away. But until that day comes, we're getting a lot of games and they're not 4K, and this is something. And I'm just once again just being real that this was advertised in the very beginning. So to keep getting a lot of games that are not coming with this 4K is kind of is putting a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths and stuff like that. And so, and that's all I wanted to say. I totally, Jerry, I get you. But like I said, there's some people that just don't care. They're just happy to just play with people multiplayer. There's some people who haven't gamed in a long time and are just happy to just jump in a game and play in the clouds. There's a lot of us like that. And there's a lot of people that are tech. But the company, you have to make everybody happy, and you have to give everybody these options so everybody can do whatever and be happy. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Go ahead, Purple.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I think Ray said it the best there. And I would be really interested just to add, for chat or for the panel to really think about who is the Stadia target audience, right? And Stadia told us from the very beginning they're targeting that next 1 billion to 2 billion gamers. Those gamers are not the ones who have current hardware, PC, Xbox, console. They don't, right? Most likely these gamers are mobile gamers. These are other type of gamers who are excited to maybe play the game or like coming back to gaming. So I wouldn't be surprised if it never reaches, what we see on other platforms. But to Ray's point, I do think like they did put out that it was going to be 4K. Right, they did put out that it was going to be crossplay, and I don't know how you get around that. And so I'll be really interested over the next 6 months or so to see if there's an upgrade to it.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to quickly say, if the developer has came out and said that, that's on them, absolutely 1000%. Do you know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the team just have a bit of backbone and say, look, we said World War Z was going to be coming. The developers haven't made it 4K 60 like they said, and they aren't in a position to bring cross progression, so they're not coming. Like just put the foot down and just be 100% transparent and say they haven't met our high standards. So until it's done, it's not coming.
Yeah,
I'd appreciate that.
For sure, I hear you, Monkey. Sorry for cutting you off here and there, and GFN is not the best at this, so I'm not giving them a slack. But I think, same was the definition earlier, the onboarding process. I feel like they need to revamp the team that is in charge of that, right? GFN, you guys know, like if a game is not ready to release, they delay it, right? I don't know if this is why, they needed a week for this game before release. Again, pro games came last week. This kind of, didn't release with the rest of the pro games. Anywho, I think just the onboarding process team probably need to do more to just make sure that these features and performance are up to par. But yeah, anywho, I'm glad, Ray, just seeing you, hearing that you playing it with people, hearing, and you're right, Purple, you were saying this too, right? Stadia might now officially have a target audience. I feel like in the beginning, they were trying to reach the, the real gamers, comparing themselves to consoles. They've done some changes, right? So maybe the core audience are mobile gamers who really don't care about like the bangers, but like Monkey was saying, it'll be good for them to come out and address, okay, this is our new focus. We really don't care about if a game is reaching 60 FPS and giving you 4K resolution. We're just going to try to bring as many games as possible to the platform. And when it comes down to communication, can't stress that enough when it comes to this platform. Just they're doing better, but they definitely have some work to do with communicating. But anyone else, before we move on to Xbox Cloud Gaming?
Just one last thing on that to Hell Monkey. To be fair, that a lot of the community thinks the game was already delayed, and they were up in arms when the game was not here by winter 2021-2022 timeframe. So who's to say that they didn't do that? And they just ultimately said, we need to get this game into gamers' hands, like Ray, Suave, Purple. So we don't know behind the scenes, but like I said, at the end of the day, I'm happy that gamers are able to play it who might have not otherwise enjoyed it.
No, I mean, I could see that 100%. Yeah, and we are we're impatient. I'm one of these gamers. I want the brand new game on this system and that system and that system, and I fully understand that. But I'm also, I want to know what happens behind the scenes. I think I really trust a company that comes out and is fully transparent, and it's hard to come by these days.
They what Deliver Us the Moon got delayed,
Yeah.
but on other platforms, it got boosted. It got updates. It got DLCs, and it was kind of weird around the time that it was supposed to come out on our Stadia's platform. Other platforms got the boost, so I don't know. There's so much stuff going behind the scenes, but they did say, "Hey, it's not coming out." Sorry, I thought it was an April Fool's joke, but I thought they would have. I was telling, dude, it's an April Fool's joke, man. It's April Fool's, but it would have been nice.
Yeah.
Why? What happened?
You know,
What happened?
I was looking for more to that game than War War Z, just being real. That one hurt when I heard about and they still officially haven't even confirmed another release date, which is really kind of a bummer. But
No, Wire Productions, and they're actually really good on social media, giving out information and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
Weird.
It's weird. Anywho, let's move on to Xbox Cloud Gaming. Thank you all. That was a really good discussion piece for Stadia. So, as you guys know, again, every month we get two kind of slices to the pie when it comes to Xbox Game Pass announcement. We got the first slice this week, right? What games coming to the platform. So we have a really good list, right? We have MLB The Show 2022 coming to cloud. We have Cricket 2022, Dragon Age from EA Play. We have Planet Zombies and Garden Warfare cloud. We have Star Wars Squadrons cloud. We have Chinatown Detective Agency cloud. We have Life is Strange True Colors. Big game, guys, cloud. And we have Lost in Random cloud. But we do have some games that are leaving too. MLB The Show 2021, which makes sense with 22 coming. But like, think about some people who are highly invested and have seasons in 2021. That would suck, right? Rain on Your Parade, cloud leaving. Long Dark, cloud leaving. And then F1 2019 is leaving on the 18th. So this brings the topic of Xbox does get games, but games also leaves this platform. So you can again have your whole season. MLB, like Monkey was saying, he's still playing FIFA 21. Imagine if that was you with 22 coming. They're like, nope, peace out. And it. So you have your win-lose situation here, but just gonna open up to the panel members. What are your thoughts about Xbox Cloud Gaming news for this week? We'll start with Purple here.
I mean, I think it's par for the course, right? We know that games come on, games come off. I think this is a pretty good. I mean, MLB The Show. I know to this may have many PlayStation fans is on Xbox, and that continues to be the case. Star Wars, Jerry, I'll leave it up to him to show his excitement on that one. I know a lot of people like Life is Strange, and the True Colors one I think was a big hit coming out. And a couple of I think Chinatown Detective Agency, another one that I pretty sure that's the one I think it is, received some solid rating. So I think it's par for the course, and Game Pass continues to show its value for the players who use it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good take there. How about you, Jared? Let's check in with you. Thoughts on these games?
Oh yeah, I mean, like Purple saying, Xbox is doing Xbox. They're doing a great job, and they have been for a long time, of bringing games to Game Pass. And I mean that in general to console, cloud, and PC. Game Pass Ultimate strength is still in the gamer that has a console, a PC, and cloud, because what you're talking about, like MLB The Show 21 coming off, what if you're invested in that? Unfortunately, cloud still isn't the main focus where they're worried about that, because they know on console you could just purchase it for a discount because you're subscribed and continue on playing locally. That focus just isn't there yet when it comes to cloud. Now, we know that Phil Spencer and Microsoft have talked for over a year about wanting to bring your purchases to the cloud and solve these issues. That'll be freaking awesome. I think a lot of people agree when Xbox can finally bring purchases to the cloud, that's going to be a huge step for them and for cloud gaming. That's really going to help with a lot of that. So, but for now, that just kind of is what it is, because it's not the absolute main focus. Content wise, this is great. Life is Strange True Colors actually for me is a good one, because we as content creators, we buy so many games. I know a lot of people think we get a ton of games for free. I might get like 3 games a year for free. I pay full price for.
It's not that low.
It's pretty low. It's pretty low. Last year I got the total of 4 free games for all of 2021. Yeah, it's low, man. So like when you see me put out videos for like 3-4 different games in a week, I paid for every single one of those games, and I probably make 33 cents on the video. So it is what it is. It's definitely a passion. Okay, it ain't no moneymaker. So, but it's great content. Life Strange True Colors, can't wait. That's going to be one I've been wanting to play. I've heard so many good things about the game, and I had to miss out on it. So this is what Game Pass does for me. It keeps giving me games like that that I can play. I'll mention Star Wars Squadrons because my name was mentioned all up in the Star Wars situation. I love that game. I played the heck out of it when it came out. I think they did a great job with that. They kept the microtransactions out. You got all the content for free after buying it. That was a pretty consumer gamer friendly game. Good Star Wars. I haven't tried it in the cloud yet. I already played it a ton on console and on PC. But I'll probably get in there and do that. But again, it's an older title. Like Plants vs. Zombies is an older title. Dragon Age 2 is an older title from EA. So we love seeing the EA games come, cough, cough, GFN, to xCloud, because the community and Xbox is excited, right? But if you gave the EA games over to GFN, that community is thirsting for those EA games to come. Like almost any EA game, they're just like, come on, just go give us any EA game. So, I think it's a great job, awesome for Xbox, and this is just the first half of the month.
Yeah.
So we still have the next half. I love how they give us those 2 pieces every month. Also, a shout out to Lost in Random. I played through that game when it launched. I bought it, played through it, never made a video on it. That's what I do when I want to enjoy a game, is I don't make any content on it. I just enjoy the game. Lost in Random is a little gem of a game, a great one if anybody's looking to play that. So
nice. How about you, Ray? What's your take on these games coming to xCloud?
Let me see. Do I want to spend between $70 and $100 to get the MLB 22? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. I have Ultimate Game Pass. So, I could just play that in the cloud, or I could download that to my Xbox Series S. Man, that's a no-brainer. They killed it. Xbox killed it with the games. Cricket. I'm learning how to play Cricket 22. I love my sports games. I said, son, they got Plants vs. Zombies. Remember when you was little and we used to play Plants vs. Zombies? Really, Dad? I'm playing Fortnite. Leave me alone. So I mean, Life is Strange. They got a ton of freaking games. If you are a gamer, this is what you want. You want games. I'm sorry. MLB is day and day, folks. I am a sport nut. I love my baseball game. I used to reserve and go pick it up at GameStop and pay my dollars and wait to download it. I don't have to do this. I can play it on my console. I could play it on my cloud. I could play it on my phone. This is, oh my God, this is a no-brainer. Xbox, they killed it.
Nice. April. Good to hear. Monkey, taking this.
Funny story. MLB is the reason I bought a Series S, because I was talking with Jerry and I was like, Ultimate is great because I've got the PC, so I got all the benefits of PC games. And then he reminded me that it's coming to cloud and console only. And I was like, shit, I need to buy a console because xCloud is so bad for me. where I'm at, it just was not possible to play MLB, any sports games really at all. So huge game. It's all about MLB this month. Enjoying the cricket game is an added bonus for me. So it was, and it's all part of subscription. So even if you haven't played any of these games, the older ones, you can just jump in and try them and you know, see if you like them. But what gets me is I'm looking at this list of games that Xbox have brought this month and wondering why other platforms can't go out and get similar styled games and have a list looking like this, and then we wouldn't be complaining that World War Z isn't 4K, because we'd just be talking about all the games that's coming to Stadia, and we wouldn't be saying it's a week for GFN because they've got this sort of caliber of game. I'm not talking MLB, but every other game that's there could potentially make it to the rest of these services as well. So yeah, they don't have the 20 years of experience that Xbox have got, but you know, if you want to grow and keep your audience happy, this is a sort of level that you want to be at. Something for everyone, something, you know, to tickle everyone's fancy, and it's all there. So it's all there, and there's only 2 games leaving. One thing I like to see as well, which I think was lacking the last sort of month or so, not a lot was coming to the cloud. There was maybe only 1 or 2,
Yeah.
3 each fortnight that was coming. And then this week, for the next 2 weeks, there's 7 games coming to the cloud. So
Yeah.
that's really good.
True.
On a disappointing note, I want to see and hear about improvements to xCloud, because they must be getting the feedback. I feedback every time I try a game on xCloud, basically telling them it's shit. I'm just going to be real. It's poor. The bandwidth is terrible. The picture quality is terrible. The latency is terrible. They must be getting this. They must be getting this, and they've just made huge improvements in iOS. iOS is now better than Android, so much better than what it's like on Android, and that was the only place I could play it before was on my phone to a reasonable level. So, yeah, I want to see the back end improvements for the end user coming.
Good point. And you know what's crazy? They are, let me see, they're the only platform still left in the beta tag, and they need to
Yeah,
get out, man. I just being real. I'm wondering if like the Activision Blizzard deal kind of slowed things down, because there's like rumors and speculation of, again, the dongle coming the end of last year, and Phil Spencer already said he's looking into being able to purchase game from the marketplace and play it via cloud. So I wonder if that kind of slowed things down. But I just would love them. Last year, again, when Google Stadia was hot, right? These companies were trying to one up each other, and I miss that, right? I think that needs to come back. It was great for the consumers. Anywho, these games are good. Again, a big game like MLB The Show, same day release, is cool. Now, like Jared was saying, I actually am excited to play Dragon Age in the cloud. They are all the games, right? GFN again can do a better job getting those games, but I mean, I Dragon Age is such a good game. Life is Strange is a big game. I beat it. Probably the only 2 games I beat last year, but I love the franchise, and if you guys haven't played it, to get that in the cloud, it's really good, and shout outs to them, Star Wars Squadrons as well, really great get for the Xbox Cloud, and you guys are okay with games just leaving, I'm not. That would be my biggest fault with this platform as a whole. I mean, losing games like Nier Automata, no matter what, uh I'm just not okay with it, man. Losing games like GTA 5, I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. But anyway, good good week, but I'm still concerned about games leaving, and Microsoft, I would say, need to just stop getting too comfortable with that beta tag and start making some progress, man. Anywho, we do have a little time for Q&A. So I'm gonna try to answer some of the stuff that you guys have listed here. We don't know. Monkey, you want to take this one?
I probably know as much as you guys. Obviously,
So
I don't want to say shenanigans, but what's going on over there is put a major delay in things, which is completely understandable. But from my experience, having same round trip between Boosteroid, GFN, and Stadia, you aren't missing out on much. It's
so you haven't noticed like any performance improvement from? I have. I'm here in the States and I have. Have you tried it lately?
Yeah, jumped into Elden Ring not too long ago on there because I was talking to my brother about it, and I've installed and uninstalled Elden Ring from this PC more times than I care to admit, right? So it was easier to jump on.
Yeah.
I thought I'll just jump on. Let's see if Booster is getting any better. And it's not. It's just the latency is so much more noticeable. The image quality and the stream quality is just lacking. From the other services. So yeah, you're not missing out on much. But the one thing I will say is certain gamers will put up with it so they can play the latest games.
Yeah.
I was like that myself when Nier Replicant came out. I was, you guys know me, I absolutely love the Nier franchise, and I really wanted to play that. The only way I could do it was on Boosteroid, and I made do, and played through most of the game on Boosteroid before I finally got a maximum settings rig at the time and finished it off over there. So just there's an example. Maximum settings is based in Canada, and I got better performance to those servers than I did from Boosteroid, who are based in London, like 500 miles away from me.
And you kept running to that issue of your data not saving with Nier.
Right? They still have that.
They still have that issue. That's a big one too. People losing data not saving. But
yeah, so sometimes it doesn't save, even if you go through the process that they tell you to. Sometimes it doesn't save your save to the Steam cloud.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else want to help Ron here with Boosteroid? At this point, Ron, I don't know if you're trolling because I know you troll a lot with Booster Luna. But yeah, he does. Every shot, he's always bringing up Booster Luna.
My friend Vet's playing WWE, the new one, and he says he's playing it great. And I'm like, how are you playing these games?
It's in Booster?
Yeah.
They have it in Booster.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I know he's in Michigan. So I'm like, how are you playing? But he's been playing WWE.
The farther west you go in the US, the better off you are. Like Ace is almost as far as you can get from me. Here, like 2,800 miles or something like that. And I'm on the East Coast, and Boosteroid is still for 2 years now just an unplayable mess.
I'm waiting. I have the app on my desktop. I'm just waiting to just click and play.
Right, where are you?
I'm in California. I'm in Northern California. So
you should test it out, dude. Have you tested? You should.
I did their test, their little testing, whatever. And
don't listen to that. Just get it.
Mine's so inaccurate.
Mine was still off, but it ran so smooth for me. So don't listen to that.
Yeah, because I mean everything, xCloud, Stadia, Luna, everything, even PS Now, runs perfect where I'm at.
Yeah.
So you know what? I might just do that. But my wife though, she says if I get another subscription, she's gonna kill me.
Let's start with the free. Start playing out with the free.
Okay. All right. I'll do that.
Good stuff. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. But yeah, guys. So this was a good show. And man, Purple and Ray, thank you guys, man. This was really awesome.
The next big content superstar, folks, right here. Purple.
I'm impressed, man. You held your own. You went with Jerry for a bit here. You went with.
Oh, I loved it, man. We actually had a guest that would dig in and go for it a little bit. I love it.
It's great. It's great.
I'm just in awe because stuff that she just breaks down. I'm like, oh my god, just amazing. Where you been? Holy cow!
No, thank
Good
you all.
stuff.
I watch all of y'all's content, and it's inspirational, and just it's a privilege to be on here with y'all and talking to you. Hopefully, I can game with y'all soon enough. I know Ray, we game sometimes, so
Yeah, she be
thank you for the invitation.
headshots in Siege. Yeah, she sniped me
Yeah.
in the head a couple of times.
Dang. That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, let's give the members a chance to just plug the channels, let people know what they do. I'm gonna make an announcement about the podcast, so stay tuned for that. But we'll start with Ray, sir. What do you do? Where can people find you?
Well, I'm a game streamer. I'm on a couple of shows. I'm on an awesome show tomorrow called Retro Rewind with my good friend Stadia Pro Gaming, Jeff, and the lovely Miss Tracy. We have guests on our show every other Sunday where we talk about the good old days, vintage, retro rewind, and retro games. So that we have a show tomorrow. We're gonna have two wonderful guests, and then you guys know I'm on the Rock brand. I do the Stadia Rock review, and then I also do the Rock review where we talk about all cloud gaming platforms. And then I do Cloud Nation TV with Dr. Spaceman and Vet. I have a sports show with Vet on Tuesday nights. And
I
then
guess the bigger question, Ray, where aren't you?
I stream, dude. I'm about to get divorced pretty soon. No, let me. And I do my game streams. I stream on Twitch and I stream on YouTube. From Saturday, like tonight, I'm doing a Wreckfest Stadia. I shout out to the SBC. I'm still a huge part of the SBC, which is the Stadia Bash community. Shout out to Cowboy, who's awesome, who's running behind the scenes and getting people on there. I'm doing Wreckfest, where it's about 10 of us and we're wrecking cars and having a good time. Anybody can jump in. You're more than welcome to just hop on in with us. And then I do streaming Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I also do the Luna Zone on Tuesday. Shout out to Luna. And then shout out to GFN Sundays.
The man with many hats, my dude. How do you keep up with it all? Holy smokes. That is
Thank you.
crazy. But Ray, as always, man, good to have you in the
Appreciate
panel.
it.
Sure.
And thank you guys. I love you guys, man. You guys, this is where I get all my knowledge. I didn't know nothing about frames per second and teraflops and everything and resolution. I adjusted my resolution on my screen and upscaling and all that because of you guys. So thank you guys for all the information and the stuff that you teach and give us. So thank you guys.
Thanks, man. Yeah, you got Jerry and Chief and those guys to blame for that, man. Like, I'm a simple guy. You guys know me, man. As long as I can get a good image, these guys like give me a hard time, man. If I can tell the difference between 1080p and 4K, it's what I have to deal with.
It's a
But
difference,
no,
folks.
yeah.
Difference.
But good stuff, man. Purple, let the people know what you do and where they can find you.
Yeah, so I stream games as well, but I also do deep dive interviews with content creators and everyone you see, just to kind of get to understand the people underneath what you see on screen. You can find me. I don't have enough. Well, I don't know what my YouTube the actual title is, but you can just look up Purple Haze Stadia. I should pop up. And I do shows usually on Thursday. This week I'll be doing one on Wednesday. Winstar, who's a Stadia content creator, I'll be interviewing him. I also just want to shout out Holtz because he's here, Cowboy, for giving me the reference to Ace, and Ace to inviting me on the show. Thank you all. I also co-host a show at Lo-Fi Monk, usually on Fridays, called Quality Thoughts. We talk about gaming news and just take questions, and usually have a host on the show. So that's where you can find me. And then, like I said, usually on weekends or on Tuesdays, I like to stream just pretty games with cool puzzles and stuff. And right now that's Little Nightmares 2. So if you want to be scared or not, because I talk through the whole game, might be a cool way to enjoy it.
That's awesome. Good to have you. And again, good job, man. You did anyone who can go toe to toe with Jerry, man, I get my hats off to you. So good stuff. Good stuff. But let's check in with Jerry, sir. What do you do? Anything you want to plug? Let the people know.
What do I do? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm not gonna be. I thought I hustled sometimes. Nah, Ray is hustling, brother. I'll
Oh
tell you
man.
what. Oh, I couldn't handle all that live streaming. To be honest, most people know I don't like live, man. I'm sitting here nervous every single time. This is episode 80. I'm still sitting here like, oh man. All right, here we go. But no, you guys can still find me over on Game Tech Planet. Some cloud there, but I mostly am handling a lot of local gaming stuff and testing and frame rates and all the stuff that some people either find absolutely fascinating or absolutely don't care and hate it. And then over on CGX here, tons of things going on. I don't have anything specific to throw out right now. I think Ace has a little announcement for the podcast, but yeah, that's about it. We'll see what comes out next week. A lot of plans for content.
Awesome.
I also want to say that Purple probably had the best points and comebacks to anything I could say or any interesting stuff, because she actually had things that made sense, that could work, and she wasn't trying to tell me I was wrong. She just had other reasons. It was really fun. This was a great podcast, and it was a great conversation with everybody. I loved it.
Yep.
Good.
I agree.
That's shouts to you, Duncan. He's referencing the PlayStation debate that y'all had last week. But yeah, Purple, you I'm telling you, you make more sense than those guys did. But anywho, let's check in with Monkey, sir. What do you do? And the legend is back, guys. Let's just point that out real quick, man. Good to see you.
Back. I'm
Good
not
to
back.
see you.
I'm out the game. I have nothing. I have nothing to plug. I don't do anything.
You're having
anymore.
fun living life, okay? You're having fun now.
There you go.
I mean, hardly having fun. I'm still rehabbing for the leg break. But no, just listen, go and follow everyone else, because just everyone on it. This is a great conversation tonight. It's, Purple, I hadn't seen your channel until an hour before the show, so jumping in and seeing someone new come into space is always fantastic with a different perspective. And just this show was really good tonight. There was no argumentative take like last week. That was a wee bit ridiculous. It was just a really good debate, and long may it continue. Just follow everyone on here. They've got you all covered for everything you need to know about cloud gaming.
Thanks, man. Good to see you, Monkey, for sure. Hopefully we'll see you again, but
if need be, you know where I am.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, guys, so we are going to kind of scale back. I don't know if you guys have been following CGX for a bit, but there's a lot going on, to where we're, just, I feel like we got really ambitious with things, and so we scale them back a little bit. And you guys will notice there's no CGX VR, there's no CGX gameplay, right? We're trying to put all the focus back on just extreme when it comes to cloud gaming as a whole. And the second thing is, you guys know us all here. We have families, we have busy lives, we have work. And so a lot of guys, again, we've done 80 of these, have made sacrifices to Saturday, which is, mostly family days, right? So we want to respect that time, and we want to give people, including myself, right, time to just spend more time with their families. So we're going to be cutting this back to bi-weekly episodes instead of weekly episodes, just to give members time to hang out with their family. So hopefully you guys can understand that, but the podcast is still going to continue, but it's just not going to be a weekly podcast. So that is the announcement. And you should be seeing, the cast still come back, and like we did today, have some guests on the show as well. But yeah, that's the CGX Cast news. But this was a lot of fun. Again, Ray, Purple, thank you guys for being here. And you guys make sure you go check them out. Awesome content creators. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. All right, till next time, y'all. Peace out.